friends, now with around 10 days or less than 10 days for this MHCT re-examination, all of you must be thinking about making a strategy that will enable you to score more than 150 marks in these 150 minutes for MHCT examination. Now, our target should be more than 150 marks so that we'll get a definite call from the best college which is participating in MHCT examination. That is Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. All right. So, friends, in this endeavor of scoring more than 150 marks in 150 minutes, we need to make a foolproof strategy, and it's not just making this strategy, it is working on this strategy, keeping all the things in your mind while you are attempting this examination. So, with less than 10 days left for CT examination, I am here once again in front of you on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep to help all of you to make a strategy, or basically to again tell you all the things that you should be keeping in your mind in order to make a proper foolproof strategy for this re-examination for MHCT examination. So friends, good evening. Welcome back on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. I am Gaurav Gupta, and most of you would know me. I've conducted plenty of sessions for your MHCT preparation, and here I am once again back to help you in making a proper strategy for MHCT examination. Now, to start with, let us understand the composition of MHCT examination. So, obviously, since we are making the strategy for re-examination, we must keep in mind the first examination that happened a few days back. Okay, though there were plenty of glitches, but all of you would know the pattern of that examination. You can take out something from that examination, and you all must go through the analysis of each and every slot that we have made on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. Yes, we have done the analysis of all the slots. We have in-depth analysis for all the slots for MHCT, which happened the last month. And using that analysis, you will get to understand what all types of questions were there. So here right now, I'm not going to discuss any type of question. I'm just telling you what to be done in those 150 minutes in order to maximize your score. You are making plenty of efforts before the D-Day, but it is the test of nerves in the examination in those 150 minutes on which you need to have control in order to maximize your score. So the highlights of MHCT examination, since this examination happened in different slots, so I cannot fix upon the number of questions, but we can tentatively say that obviously the total number of questions were 200. The duration was 150 minutes, though some of you got 180 minutes. Okay, so we'll not consider that, but I'll assume that this time all of you are going to get 150 minutes. The type of questions will be all MCQs, multiple choice questions, and the number of options per question is 5. Now, wonderful thing is there is no negative marking for this examination. All right. Now, keeping all these things in our mind, the total number of questions, the duration of this examination, the number of options that you will have, there is no negative marking. So we'll keep all these things in our mind while we are attempting this examination on the D-Day. All right. Now, the key areas that we need to work on while attempting this examination, the most important key area is the speed at which you are working. All right. Now, since we'll have 200 questions in front of us to be attempted in 150 minutes, the target score will be more than 150. So on an average, we have to attempt the questions at a speed which is higher than one question per minute. So even if you are attempting one question per minute, in 150 minutes, you will be able to attempt only 150 questions. And definitely it gets difficult to get 100% accuracy. So we need to simultaneously work on our accuracy as well. Now, whatever time you are left with, try to take as many mocks as possible. building up your speed as well as accuracy. Now, speed and accuracy, they must go hand in hand. You cannot increase the speed drastically and not taking care of the accuracy. Also, if you will keep on taking care of only the accuracy at the expense of the speed, then it will also not take you at a good score. So that is why I'm telling you that speed and accuracy will go hand in hand. So you have to create a perfect balance between the speed and accuracy. Now, I would say that if you are a student who is targeting 150 plus marks, then you must attempt at least 170, 180 questions. Obviously, attempt का मतलब क्या है? You must attempt them logically. Okay, so these should be your actual attempts. I'm not counting the flukes that you'll be marking. Obviously, we'll be attempting all the 200 questions. You should not be leaving any question unattempted because there is no negative marking. So one thing keep in mind, we have to attempt all 200 questions, but actually जो हमें questions आते हैं, हमने वो वाले attempt किए हैं. Okay, for the questions we are sure. Okay, so इस type के questions कितने होने चाहिए? Somewhere around 170 to 180 questions we should be attempting with an accuracy of 85 to 90%. So if we are sitting at an accuracy of 85 to 90% after attempting 170 or 180 questions, then it will be easy to score 150 marks and get an admission in our dream school. Okay, so in the next, whatever time you are left with, I don't know when you will be watching this session. Some of you are watching live, some of you will be watching it in 1 or 2 days. So, whatever time you are left with before the examination, you must be taking good number of mocks. I would recommend that you can take the mock every second day or maybe every day. Okay, so take a mock every day and try to build up the speed and simultaneously taking care of your accuracy, right? Now, these two things can be achieved. The balance between these two things can be achieved if you have a control on two things. Number one, the selection of questions. Number two, which is more important, the rejection of questions. Okay. So now at the time of examination, you should be having control on your mind, control on your emotions as to when making a decision to start attempting a question or the question which needs to be rejected. Okay, so ऐसे बहुत सारे questions मिलेंगे which will tempt you towards them. Okay, you will get tempted, and eventually what will happen if the question is a little complex, question is a little lengthy, you will end up wasting plenty of time. Even if you are able to answer that question correctly, but understand that you have already lost the time. Okay, so it is always better to strategize and have a proper selection of the number of questions and have a proper control on the questions which you want to reject. Fine. So what you can do is, in order to take care of these two things, you can always have a threshold limit on the number of minutes or number of seconds that you are going to spend on every question. So what I normally do is, for a question of quant, I have a threshold of 20 to 30 seconds for a question which is of the level of difficulty of MHCT examination. So MHCT examination में हमें पता है कि ज़्यादा difficult questions नहीं आते हैं. Okay, so in 20 seconds or 30 seconds, at least after reading the question, I can determine if the question is easy or difficult, if the question is lying from my area of strength or my area of weakness, if the question is short, if the question is lengthy, right? So using all these parameters in 20 or 30 seconds, I can take a decision if I want to attempt that question or I want to reject that question. Okay, so you also can basically use all these parameters for the next mock papers that you'll be attempting before the examination, so that you will be able to have a control on selection and rejection, right? Now, Gpos, you're asking, sir, what can we expect about the difficulty of the retest paper? Now, Shweta is saying moderate to difficult. Now, Shweta, I'll not agree. So, if I talk about the actual examination which happened a few days back, the level of difficulty of the entire paper was easy to moderate, right? Some of the sections were easy to moderate, some of the questions were very easy, some of the questions were moderate, and rarely I could see any question which was very difficult. Now you can expect a similar level of difficulty in the retest. All right, so the retest will not be very difficult because not every student is attempting this retest examination, right? So they cannot give you a different paper, a paper which is having like altogether a different level of difficulty. Fine. So you can expect a similar level of difficulty. उससे slightly high हो सकता है. Fine. But moderate to difficult, it is like impossible, I would say. Yes, normalization होगा, but normalization होने के बाद भी, like if I'll basically give two different level of difficulty to two different students and will tell them कि यार normalization तो होगा ही, so it will be unfair for these students, unfair especially for the student who is getting a paper of higher level of difficulty. Fine. So chances are the paper, the level of difficulty of the examination will be somewhere around moderate. If not easy to moderate, but it will be moderate. It will be difficult to get a level of difficulty which is very high. Okay, so ऐसा नहीं होगा. Now let's move ahead and understand a few things. Now how much time we need to spend per section? Now obviously we know that ये वाला जो examination है इसमें section wise paper तो नहीं है. So this is a jumbled paper. So in this examination last time also there were some questions of quant followed by some questions of verbal ability followed by some questions of data interpretation, then logical reasoning and so on. Okay, so obviously this is a jumbled paper, but you can set up a watch in your mind and basically have a control on the number of minutes you are spending on any type of question. Okay, so generally what I do is number of questions for logical reasoning are 75, so I would spend somewhere around 45 to 50 minutes on the questions of logical reasoning. Abstract reasoning बहुत easily हो जाते हैं. पेपर में हमने देखा था कि abstract reasoning के सारे questions एक साथ थे, right? So if all these 20 or 25 questions of abstract reasoning are together, so you can finish them in a matter of 15 minutes. Then BRC, there were 50 questions which can be, you can spend 30 to 35 minutes on BRC. And for quant, you can spend 35 to 40 minutes, right? Now, after that, there will be some buffer time that will be left for you towards the end of the examination. And I always keep this buffer time in such examinations which does not have sectional time limit. ठीक है ना? So sectional time limit नहीं है. So according to my strength and weakness, I can allocate the number of minutes to each of these sections. And towards the end, I can leave 20 or 25 minutes of buffer time in which I can go back to the questions which probably I have left unattempted, and I can finish these questions in those 20-25 minutes. Okay. चाणक्य सिंह रीटेस्ट वालों का और पहले वालों का रिजल्ट से अलग होगा ना? रीटेस्ट वालों का और पहले वालों के रिजल्ट से Sean 6, I don't understand what you have written. एक बार दोबारा से लिखो properly. Okay. All right. So roughly इतना time spend कर सकते हैं. Though since we know that section wise divide नहीं होगा paper, but still you can have a rough estimate of the number of minutes that you are going to spend on the questions of each of these types. Now, should there be any sequence in which these sections be attempted? So in the last examination also, in spite of me telling students, what students have done is they were searching for the questions of quant. So सबसे पहले क्या किया, paper start किया and they started searching for the questions of quant. So they finished all the questions of quant. Then they looked for the questions of, let's say, reasoning, and they finished all the questions of reasoning. And this is the way they have attempted the examination. I am strictly against that. It will end up wasting a lot of time in the examination while you are searching for the questions. Okay, it's not a paper pencil test where you can scroll between the questions very easily. Okay, it's a computer based test, right? So you will have to click next, 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 and so on in order to scroll through the questions. So this is highly not advisable to search for the questions of particular type and finish those questions first. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to attempt these questions in the order in which they are coming. Even if they are jumbled sequence, even if these are jumbled sections, fine. You can attempt 2 or 3 questions of quant, which are followed by the questions of verbal reasoning. Okay, so you can attempt these questions as they will come in front of you. Do not search for the questions of a particular type. सबको रीटेस्ट सर, सबको रीटेस्ट का ऑप्शन आया है. हाँ, यस यस शॉन्टेक, सबको रीटेस्ट का ऑप्शन आया, बट नॉट एवरीवन इज अटेम्प्टिंग दिस पेपर अगेन. ओके, सो इफ यू आर आस्किंग सबको रीटेस्ट का ऑप्शन आया है, हाँ सबको आया है रीटेस्ट का ऑप्शन. ओके, सो वी हैव लॉट ऑफ फैकल्टी, we have a lot of people in our team who have taken MHCT examination without any glitch, and yes, they have got the option of a retest. Okay, so the answer for this question that is there in front of you, no, there should not be any particular sequence in which the sections, the type of questions needs to be attempted. All right, next is, should we start with our strongest area or with our weakest area? So now people will say that my verbal is very strong, so I should be looking for the questions of verbal ability and will do them first. Some people will say that, okay, my quant is weak, so I will keep leaving the question of quant. Like I'll not even look at the question of quant whenever they'll be in front of me. So I'll skip all the questions of quant. Now, since we don't have any sectional cutoffs in this examination, you can do that, but please do not leave any question, do not reject any question without looking at it. So there may be questions in quant. ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता ना कि आपकी quant overall weak है, कोई भी section like in quant you don't have knowledge of any of the topics. Okay, in quant you can work on arithmetic, which is the easiest area, right? So please do not leave any question unattempted without even looking at it. So enter the question, spend 10 to 15 seconds on that, and then take a decision if you want to leave that question or you want to attempt that question. Also, don't search for the questions from your strongest area. So let's say if you think that you are good in time, speed, distance, or you are good in arithmetic, and you are searching for the questions of arithmetic, then once again it will waste a lot of time while searching for these questions, right? So strong area, weak area, keep it aside. Take a decision as and when the question will appear in front of you on your screen. Okay. Shantis, you are asking last day to apply for retest. I have no idea right now about that. So you can visit the website. Steve Austin, sir, in the remaining days, should we focus more on quant or not? Steve Austin, this is a very personalized question. So I would not recommend you to spend the entire time on any one area. Okay, there will be only 50 questions of quant out of 200 questions. Okay, so I would recommend you to spend equal amount of time on all the areas. Otherwise, what you can do is, let's say your reasoning is strong. Okay, so you can spend comparatively lesser amount of time on reasoning as compared to the other sections which are, you think, weak. Okay, also it is important to spend time on your strong areas. Otherwise these strong areas, you will lose practice about these strong areas, and in the examination you'll not be able to do justify with these strong areas. Okay, so agar area strong hai, so spend some time, lesser amount of time, but yes, do spend at least 1.5 hours on every day on your strong areas, and then rest of the time on your weak areas in the remaining number of days. Okay. Steve, you're asking what about the strategy for verbal reasoning? Should we prepare the traditional question that used to come, or the new version too, like the Philippines one that came this time? So, Steve Austin, at the beginning of this session, I have clearly mentioned that the reference should be the paper that we have seen a few days back. Okay, so you must prepare for the type of questions that we have seen in that. Also taking care of the conventional questions as well. Okay. All right. Steve Austin has mentioned that last date was the 16th of April. So yes, the date has already passed for the retest. Okay. Now, some of the key points that you must remember on the D-Day at the time of the examination. You also can make a note of these points. These are very basic pointers, but we generally tend to forget about these things in the examination hall. Okay. Now, point number one, attempt all the questions as they come. Like I mentioned, if you see a question of quant followed by a question of verbal, so don't worry at all. Once you have finished the first question, then go to the second question, try to attempt that, take a decision if you want to attempt it, take a decision if you want to reject it, and so on. Keep moving in the sequence. Do not look for the questions of any particular type. It will waste plenty of time. The next thing is, do not leave any question unattempted. Now, this is one thing that probably you will not follow up to the T. Fine, but you can keep this particular thing in mind. I'll give you an example for this. So, in every examination, we can encounter three different types of questions. Type number one, the questions which are easy and we want to attempt them. Second type of question, the questions which are moderate, which are not easy. So we think that we want to attempt these questions, but not right now. So first of all, we'll attempt all the easier ones. Then we can come back to these moderate questions if the time will permit. ऐसा भी हो सकता है ना, easy questions बहुत सारे हैं, so we don't get time to come to these moderate questions, or we'll get less amount of time for these moderate questions. So we want to finish the easy ones first of all, and then later on we think that अगर time बचता है तो हम इस moderate questions पे आ जाएंगे, otherwise we'll leave them. Okay, we'll just mark flukes on these questions. The third type of questions is the questions which are difficult. They're lying from our weak areas एंड हम इनको अटेम्प्ट नहीं करना चाहते, हम इन पे टाइम इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहते. ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन विच आर इजी, obviously we are attempting them and will mark the answer on these questions. Also, the third type of questions which are very difficult and even if we'll get the time, we know that we'll not be able to solve these questions. So मैं क्या करता हूं, मैं इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पे भी फ्लूक मार्क कर देता हूं. मुझे पता है कि मुझे इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पे नहीं आना. Okay, later on I'll get confused, I may not be able to attempt these questions. These questions may be left unattempted, I cannot take that risk because there is no negative marking. So I will mark a fluke on this third type of question which I will never spend time on. ये जो सेकंड टाइप के क्वेश्चंस हैं, इन पे आप डिसीजन ले सकते हो. In case you want to mark a fluke on these questions, also simultaneously mark these questions for a review. So एक review वाला बटन होता है. So in इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस को, ये जो सेकंड टाइप का क्वेश्चन है, you have marked a fluke and simultaneously mark these questions to be reviewed so that आपके पास एक आइडिया होगा कि किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पे आपको दोबारा वापस आना है. Okay, so this is what you can do that. Okay. ओके, सो विजुअल रीजनिंग, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट रीजनिंग की बात कर रहे हो. हाँ, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट रीजनिंग, सो सेम थिंग. सो जो नया टाइप था उस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस को भी देख सकते हो, एंड जो भी कन्वेंशनल क्वेश्चंस थे बेस्ड ऑन रिफ्लेक्शन, रोटेशन, क्लॉकवाइज, एंटी क्लॉकवाइज, उस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस भी अटेम्प्ट करने हैं. ओके, ऑलराइट. The next point that you need to take care is mark the flukes simultaneously, like I have mentioned with the second point. Okay, so later on last के लिए flukes mark करने का time मत छोड़ो. Okay, in like some of the cases I have seen students who thinks that I'll attempt all the questions which I can, and towards the end, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, I will mark the flukes. Do not think that you will mark all unattempted questions in the last 5 minutes. Do not take that risk. There is big reason for this. Okay, so let us understand why we should not leave the questions to be marked in the last 5 minutes. Now, there are few reasons for that. Reason number one, you may not get time at the end. So in the heat of the moment, ऐसा भी हो सकता है that you will forget to go back to these unattempted questions, और आप easy questions कर रहे हो, आपके पास टाइम नहीं बचा लास्ट में इन क्वेश्चंस को अटेम्प्ट करने का. ओके, इन द लास्ट यू विल हैव लेस देन 1 minute लेफ्ट, जब आपको याद आया कि आपको ये वाले अनअटेम्प्टेड क्वेश्चंस मार्क करने हैं, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट plenty of questions will be left unattempted, which is a crime in a paper which does not have negative marking. All right. Also, this is an online examination, so ऐसा आपके पास कोई बजर नहीं बजेगा, या फिर आपको कोई बताएगा नहीं कि आपके पास इतना टाइम बचा है, या फिर जैसे शीट कलेक्ट करना शुरू करते हैं तो आपको आइडिया हो जाता है, एंड देन इन द लास्ट 30 seconds you mark all the questions. So this is an online examination and paper will get submitted automatically simultaneously for all the students. Okay, so you will not have any intimation from anyone about the number of minutes that you'll be left with towards the end of the examination. So whatever I've told you about type 1, type 2 and type 3 questions, okay, try to take care of that, and that will definitely help you in increasing your score. All right. Also, it will save a lot of time. As in, if you have read the question and you have marked the fluke on that, you don't have to come back to that question once again. So it will save plenty of your time as well. All right. Now, other thing that you must take care while attempting this paper is attempt easy question first, leave other questions. So moderate और difficult level के questions बाद के लिए छोड़ सकते हो, but इन पे fluke mark कर सकते हो. Keep moving and do not waste time on any question. So I've told you to keep a threshold time. So for quant question, for logical questions, you can fix up the maximum number of seconds that you are going to spend on any question. So ऐसा भी होता है बहुत बार कि हमने like we have spent 2 minutes on any question, and after spending these 2 minutes, we are unable to get the answer. Fine. Now, at that moment, we think that we have already spent 2 minutes. Let us spend one more minute and see if I can find the answer or not. Now, this is a very risky moment. After spending 2 minutes, हमें लालच आ जाता है कि यार हमने 2 minutes तो spend कर दिए हैं. Let us spend one more minute. One more minute भी waste हो जाता है, and it gets very difficult for us to come out of that question. Now you have to have good control on your nerves and take yourself away from that type of question. Otherwise, it will keep wasting your time. ऐसा होता है कि 4-5 मिनट वेस्ट हो जाते हैं, हमें पता ही नहीं चलता, and this basically leads to lesser number of attempts in the paper. Okay, so this is one thing that you need to take care about. Also, do not waste time on lengthy questions. You can always come back to these questions later on. Lengthy question है, so definitely read करने में time लगेगा, interpret करने में time लगेगा, and finally solve करने में time लगेगा. Even if this is an easy question, but a lengthy question, 4 liner है, 5 liner है, तो 4-5 line के question को read करने में तो time लगेगा ही. So why to waste time on such a lengthy question when you can always come back to these questions later on after attempting the easy questions? Okay, so please take care of this as well. Do not attempt the question which comes in a sets in the last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes में independent questions करने की कोशिश करो. Reading comprehension, seating arrangement, the questions which comes in a set of 4 or 5 questions. Don't start with these type of questions. क्या होगा? RC read किया, time over हो गया, questions attempt नहीं कर पाए. Logical reasoning का question है, set को decode किया, questions attempt नहीं कर पाए, paper submit हो गया. Okay, so try to finish all these questions which comes in sets before 140 minutes, and last के 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just keep these minutes for independent questions, not the questions which comes in sets. Also, if you get rough sheets, make sure that you do rough work separately for the questions which comes in sets. Okay, so let's say logical reasoning का question है, and it is based on circular arrangement. Fine. So on the rough sheet, take a separate sheet because you have infinite number of sheets. So arrangements का question है, grouping का question है, input output का question है. So try to do the rough work on a separate sheet. In case you are unable to get the final answer, in case you are unable to get the final arrangement, okay, keep that sheet aside, and later on when if you'll come back on that question, then you have the reference rough work for yourself. You don't have to make that arrangement once again. Okay, so these are some pointers using which you can save plenty of time. All right, great. Now finally, do not lose your confidence during the paper. During the examination, if you think that you are unable to answer some questions, that means जो difficult वाले questions हैं वो पहले ही आ चुके हैं, and now you're left with some easier questions. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि सारे के सारे questions difficult होंगे. Okay, so during the paper, even if you are unable to attempt 4 or 5 questions at a stretch, then please don't lose your confidence, because the easy questions are waiting for you at the later half of the paper. All right. And do not waste time on any question. This is one very important thing that you'll have to save yourself from. All right. So friends, that is all from my side. I hope that you would basically take some pointers from the strategy that I have told you for MHCT examination. I'll keep coming back again and again before your MHCT examination to help you out with different sections of this examination. All right. Now, to end with, like in case any student is preparing for CAT examination and wants to start his or her preparation with BYJU'S exam prep, new batches are available for CAT 2023 comprehensive program. All the details are given on the screen, and you can also use the link that is given in the description of this session to get to fetch some more information about this program. In case you want to join any of the CAT preparation programs, you can avail up to 90% scholarship on these programs. So please do register for the scholarship test that will be conducted on 29th of April at 7 p.m. ACE VRC for CAT 2023 preparation on 22nd of April, 7 p.m. with Vikrant sir. So please do register for this session. 100 most expected questions for CMAT examination. This series started on 12th of April. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep and watch all the sessions. Also download the application of BYJU'S Exam Prep from Google Play Store and brush up your basics by attempting daily section-wise quizzes. All right. Also for CAT 500 most expected CAT question series, which started on April 6th, will continue up till CAT examination. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all these sessions. You can get social with us on all these social media platforms. Thank you very much for being a part of this session. We'll see you once again. All the very best for MHCT examination. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.